Hi, I'm Russ with ESBService.com, and today I'm going to show you how to replace the contactor on your ESB tanning bed. For this demonstration, we have the cover removed so you can see all the electronics here well enough, and also your perspective is from the rear of the bed where the main power cords come in. If you've diagnosed and you're sure that you have a bad contactor, then this is the procedure that you would use to actually replace that component. First, with the cover off and the bed unplugged, you would start out here and in replacing this component itself. Now, when you have a replacement contactor, this one on the bed is a single pole. So there's only one pole that comes up and down and opens and closes. And you'll notice that this is on the hot or the black wires, where you have the neutral here with the bar going all the way through. This is your neutral or white side of the contactor right here. So if you were replacing with the same style of contactor, you would just basically take each wire and put it in the same spot that it was on the original one, in the same orientation, like it is shown right here. For instance, you would not start replacing it like this, with your neutral bar on this side and your hots here. It would be correct to do it this way. So you would systematically go through, like this wire I would remove and then connect here, and so on, like this. For this demonstration, I'm going to show you switching from a single pole contactor to a double pole contactor like this one. The double pole contactor doesn't have an orientation set until you start wiring it, and that means that you could actually flip it around this way or whichever way. Once you start wiring it, you're determining what's hot and what's neutral, basically. So I would go, in order to make this proper, I would simply recommend that you go wire for wire. Pull one wire off, and if you have non-insulated terminals, I would choose on the outside rather than putting it on the inside where you can possibly create a short here. It's important to note that on the contactor itself, there's this one screw that holds down this grouping of 4 terminals, and these are all electrically the same here. There's another screw on this side, and it holds a grouping of 4 terminals. And although these are different than these are still all electrically the same within themselves. And it's the same for the other side. These 4 are the same, and those 4 are the same. So in essence, it doesn't matter which you choose, but again, I wouldn't put the non-insulated terminals on the inner terminals. I would put them on the outer terminals. So to continue, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take wire for wire, and I'm going to place it from the old one onto the new one. Systematically, I'm going to go through and connect them all. So here I'm starting on the neutral from that side, and actually I'm going to wait on that one. Here's a non-insulated terminal, so again I'm going to put this on the outside. If the terminal is fighting you a little bit, just take like a little snips, little pliers, and maybe just pry it up and away carefully, like so. Again, I'll put this on the outside terminal there. Here's another non-insulated terminal, so I'm going to pull that one. Let's see here. That one. This one came from this side. I'm going to go on the outside there. Same thing with this one. And then lastly that one. So now the whole primary of the contactor is wired. I'm going to take this wire that goes from the side terminal and remove that and put that onto the side here in the neutral. And now I'm going to take this hot from the side and put it to the side on here. It doesn't matter which of these two you use, just so long as the hot is on the same side as these hots. And the same thing here on this side. It doesn't matter which of those two you use. They are both electrically the same. Now I'm going to come on the secondary of the contactor. I'm going to start disconnecting these wires. From the factory, you should see that these will be fully insulated. Again, if they're non-insulated, you may consider putting fully insulated crimp terminals on there, or just keep them away from the inside terminals of your contactor. So I'm going to put this one here. Here is a non-insulated terminal again. So I'm going to put this towards the outside here. And then the last one on the hot side, I'm going to put down here. Okay. And then now we have the neutrals to do. This is getting a little tight, but we can still do it here. All we have are these 4 neutral wires left, and they go onto this grouping of 4 terminals here. So I'm going to do them all in one time here. There we go. Okay. So again, I'm going to keep the fully insulated ones on the inside terminals, and I'm going to take the non-insulated ones and put them on the outer terminals just for safety, so nothing gets shorted out here. Okay, so then all we have left are these green ground wires going down to the chassis. So I'm going to loosen this. I'm going to remove it actually. And then the other one. Now we can pull the contactor out of the way. And I'm going to put the screw on the ring terminal as such and go back into the same hole that it was in. And it's important to tighten it down to where it doesn't spin anymore. I'm going to hold the wire and make sure it doesn't spin. We need to have a good ground connection. We do the same thing on this ring terminal here. Line up the hole. Make sure it doesn't spin, and there you go. The contactor's all wired up. About contactors, all the ESB contactors are rated for, they're rated for your beds as far as the amperage goes, but the voltage rating on the coil is what's most important, okay? On this one here, you'll see the coil rating is 120 volts AC. On this one here, it says coil 208/240. Okay, so this is a 240 volt coil. This is for 240 volt beds. This is a 120 volt coil, and this is only good for 120 volt beds. And again, that's the most important rating that you need to match on the contactor, is the coil rating, whether it be 120 volts or 240 volts.